Stay with us for something completely different, as I like to say, where we say thank you as we're joined by Jewish News One correspondent Ron Jacobson, who's here weekly to tell me anything and everything I'm missing on my Hollywood news.
Why thank you?
I don't know, because it's morning and I'm feeling very, very, yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
There you go. Yes.
Well, let's start talking about awards. There's nothing else to talk about than
this
awards.
This is the season, isn't it?
Tis the season.
Tis the season, yes.
So the PGA Awards were given out. The PGA Awards are the Producers Guild Awards. Why are they important? Because the producers who are voting for those awards are the producers who are voting also in the Academy for Best Picture. So it's a good predictor of what's going to happen at the Oscars.
Does it usually show? But it
Yes,
usually goes
and I
hand
have
in-
a very good fact for you. Out of the 24 years the awards were given out, 16 of the Best Picture winner at the PGA went on to win at the Oscars, and last 6 years, all of them won.
All of them. Okay, what did the PGA vote for?
And that's very interesting because it was a split vote. 12 Years Slave split with Gravity. So, with American Hustle.
With American Hustle or Gravity?
No, with Gravity.
With Gravity.
I was like, why did I say American
No,
Hustle?
because probably I think for people who've seen American
Yes,
Hustle, you'd think that would be the one to be chosen.
So it's 12 Years Slave and Gravity splitting the vote. Very interesting. First time in the history of the awards.
Two very different films, I'd say, right?
Very, very different. So you don't really know what's going to happen at the Oscars. You would think that this is going to be interesting. And if we want to see what's going to happen in the other categories, so we have the DGA, the Directors Guild Awards, happening on the 20th.
PGA and the DGA sounds like a golf tournament. Yeah.
On January 23rd, and the WGA, the Writers Guild Award, on February 1st. So by the beginning of February, it will be a child's play to predict who will win the Oscars.
But those usually predict what's going ahead. I'm going to tackle you, Daniel. What's your prediction?
I haven't seen a lot of the Best Picture nominees.
I want to hear somebody give the answer
But
that I give.
I have to say I haven't been astounded by an in-theater movie in years, and Gravity really left me just, blindsided, impressed, incredibly impressed.
Yeah, every man says that after he saw Sandra Bullock in Underwear. But thank you. Yes.
So, speaking of, you were saying that no movie impressed you in theaters. Movies that do impress people are the movies that are at Sundance, and this is happening these days in Utah. Robert Redford, who was snubbed from getting an Oscar nomination, is very mad at Lionsgate for that because it was his first movie in like 20-something years. Did Sundance this year that was back to basics. It was the more simple, actor-driven independent movies.
Originally, Sundance was more actor-driven and more independent-wise driven, right?
And one of the movies that we're going to be talking today is what am I with the names there? Jeff Braff movie about his life in the 30s, and he got all the money from Kickstarter. $3.1 million, which is kind of interesting that now you can produce movies just from getting people to donate money for you. Have you seen the clip?
Garden State was a great film, I have to say.
Yes, that was the first movie that he actually did by himself independently, but with the studio. This one was done completely through Kickstarter. So that's
completely through Kickstarter,
yes.
And the amount was what?
3.1 million.
Wow.
That's very nice. I think that gives a lot of hope to independent filmmaking, because now you don't really need to leech onto big studios or deep pockets, because anyone can donate $20, $50, $100, and it adds up eventually.
It's fascinating that they got to 3.1 million, but it might have helped with the fact that the name Zach Braff was connected to it. I'm just theorizing here.
There's some Spike Lee also was fundraising on Kickstarter, and there's a big controversy because people said, "Oh, you're taking away the money," and said the same thing about Zach Braff.
Thank you. I'm a genius. Okay, I know, because I think if Ella View would try to gather money in Kickstarter, I probably would not reach 3.1 billion, but it's worth a try.
Another movie that
we should test.
Yes.
Another movie that is garnering a lot of attention is Camp X-Ray. Kristen Stewart, we know from Twilight, and everybody heralds her her as the best acting job she's ever done on the big screen.
So much to say about that. Yeah.
Question, does that mean it's a good acting job?
Good acting job, I know, wow. Yeah. Not voicing
she
any kind of criticism.
A guard at Guantanamo Bay and falls in love or has a very deep relationship with someone who has been there for 8 years as a prisoner.
Really?
A very interesting movie.
Okay.
And another
movie
that is also getting a lot of buzz is about Mitt Romney.
Heard about that.
This is produced by Netflix, who is becoming a big hub
contender,
now for content. You know, we see House of Cards winning also all those awards. You know, who would think that a video on demand service would get awards and so much attention? So about Mitt Romney is.
No, but it's like they're breaking the formula, and this is actually a documentary produced by them, right?
Yes,
okay.
And the filmmaker followed Mitt Romney for 6 years, and
6 years.
He was like a fly on the wall. But the people that saw the movie says, although he had unlimited access to everything, this is not a game changer for Mitt. He still is kind of distant, and you don't fall in love with him and say, ugh, what a pity that he didn't become the president of the United States.
No, which was the argument. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how many people say that, but that was the argument about Mitt Romney, I think, throughout the campaign, that you just, he feels a bit distant.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do I know? And
The Tonight Show is switching hosts.
It's happening.
It's finally happening again.
Again, exactly. Exactly.
So February 6th, Jay Leno says farewell with the guest who was his first guest in 1992, which is Billy Crystal. And Jimmy Fallon comes on board 10 days later, and his first guest will be Will Smith, with musical guest U2.
Well, that's a big lineup.
Yes.
But I think, again, we have to, as you mentioned, we have to remind people that Jay Leno did leave The Tonight Show several years in 2009 and was replaced by
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien,
who jumped ship to cable now. So
yeah, so I think because Jay wanted to come back, I wonder if he's going to want to come back again. You know, is the million-dollar question.
Well, it all depends on how the rating of Jimmy Fallon is going to be. It all comes down to the numbers at the end.
And finally, real quickly.
Finally, Raging Bull back in the news. Yes, this movie, of course, won the Oscars and
fabulous film.
And now we have a woman claiming.
Scorsese did films that weren't 3 hours long. I had to say that. Yes. Yes.
A woman claims that her dad wrote 2 screenplays and a book about the same subject, and therefore she deserves part of the proceeds from the movie. But the big story, I mean, this happens all the time, but the big thing is that this got all the way to the Supreme Court, and they have to decide right now not if how much she's going to get, but if they should even consider someone who has woken up 30 years later to say
that I've written the film.
And Hollywood is listening very closely to this because it could be a game changer for Hollywood.
Well, I sometimes feel that I'm the one who wrote Rosemary's Baby, just saying. But that's it for us this morning, and visit us on the web or on our Facebook page, I24 News. Don't forget to join us tomorrow to start your day as you should be doing every single day. Thank you.